40, short, 5 left in.
Keep left over crest bump, 120.
Welcome to the Autosport International and a first look at our brand new show format here at Special Stage. It's called Special Stage Extra. We'll cover things that we wouldn't normally be able to cover and that you won't find anywhere else on television covering British rallying. Now, coming up in this feature, we've got exclusives from World Rallying, including you'll find out who double World Rally champion Walter Rohrl thinks is the man to watch and the only man that can challenge Ogier in this year's WRC. You also find out exclusive news about Elfyn Evans and his deal with M Sport when we chat to Malcolm Wilson. Stay tuned here at Special Stage Extra for this brand new show format. We're sure you'll like it.
Welcome to Special Stage Extra.
Well, I'm joined at the Autosport International show by somebody who is synonymous with British rallying and someone who has quite a few things to talk about today. Matt, first of all, this Bentley behind us. Talk to us about M Sport's interest in that. Big news.
Yeah, it's fantastic for us as a company. Obviously, it's racing something that we've never ever done before. And then this time last year, it all sort of kicked off and we got a contract with Bentley to build and race their Continental GT3. So yeah, it's all going really well. We've done one race, test race in Abu Dhabi, which was a 12-hour race at the end of last year. And the minute we're just flat out trying to produce customer cars and move forward with that. And then we're also doing the Blancpain endurance series with two cars as an M Sport team, so it's all happening, so it's good.
And we've seen pictures all over Twitter, all over social media of you with your headphones on the pit wall. Does this see a move towards team management for you as well? Yeah,
I mean, I think it was always going to come at some point, and obviously over the last year or so the driving's sort of slowly started to, well, just slow down a little bit, and yeah, we've sort of gone more into that side of it. But I must admit, I'm really enjoying it, and I've not stopped driving altogether. It's just sort of still doing quite a bit of testing and stuff like that. So I'm still looking for opportunities in the driving side.
Of course, circuit racing isn't completely new to you because the T-Cars thing put you in good stead, didn't it, to begin with? Yeah,
for sure. That was a massive thing at that age, and then obviously Formula Renault was a big step up, competing with the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Paul di Resta, all them sort of people. So you're in the right series, and just had to go back and dig out that experience from back then. But the great thing with endurance racing is it's the closest thing to rallying. I think you've got three drivers trying to work together with one car. And you've got that endurance element. It's not just a sprint championship, so you've got more to think about, and the team can make a big difference, which is what I really like. So, no, it's all going in the right direction.
Now, you just mentioned rallying, which brings us on nicely to what our viewers are really interested in. This is big news, but also your driver lineup this year in the WRC and the presence and the profile that Ford seem to have gathered with momentum into 2014 is big news as well, isn't it, in the rally world? Yeah, really big news. I mean, for us to get Miko back, I think it's fantastic, but also for Elfyn, a massive opportunity for him. And I think he showed last year that he was, worthy of the chance to step up. But I think, yeah, I mean, that's obviously really exciting. But I honestly think we can get the best out of Miko again. Already he's been in the car before Monte Carlo, and he's been to the factory, and he's sort of the old Miko again. And I think the grass wasn't greener, was it?
No, and I think I think often people need a new challenge, and they need to see what life's like on the other side. But I think I think honestly he's really happy to be back, and we're happy to have him back. So I think it should be a good year.
Let's talk about Elfyn very quickly. You more than anyone knows the pressure on a British rally driver's shoulders when you're out there on the world stage. It's big pressure, isn't it? He's got to really make it count this year.
He has, and I think the good thing for him is he's not the only one this year. Obviously, you've got Chris Meek as well, and I think when you're the only one, there's even more pressure because everybody's looking at you, whereas, you know, in some ways, Chris is the one with the more experience. He's got more to prove, and I think Elvin can, you know, this year especially, he can get the experience and he can be a little bit, you know, not in the background, but he's got somebody to sort of hide behind a little bit to a certain extent, because I think obviously Chris is a bit older and he's got the experience of the Mini and the Citroen from last year, so I think in some ways there's a bit more pressure on him, but it's fantastic to have two Brits in the championship, and you know, it's something that, you know, up until, you know, I was doing the rallies a few years ago, it's been, apart from that, it's been really quiet on that front, so I think that's a really good thing for British rallying.
And really good news for M Sport. You've got so many customer cars out as well. Even in the top level of British rallying and the BTRDA, we've seen a lot of your cars and a lot of people testing your cars as well over the winter break.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the good thing for us is R5's gone it's really took off. We're on massive amount of orders, and we're now looking at delivery sort of April, May time for the orders that we've got. But we've also done R5 Plus, which is obviously, I did a rally with that at the end of last year to get a bit more mileage with it, and I think that's going to be a real good car for British national rallying, you know, for BTRDA championships and stuff like that. You know, you've got the power of an old type World Rally car, but with a modern chassis that's got some, you know, saleable value and that sort of thing. So I think it's a really good step for national rallying, I think. So yeah, I mean, on the whole, it's really good, and we're just trying to produce our fives as fast as we can to get them out the door and get them rallying.
And just lastly, you may have seen in the BTRDA, certainly our fans at home will have done, the success and the profile of the Millington-powered Proton, which of course you have an alternative to. You have your S2400 concept that we saw on the Malcolm Wilson stages last year. Very exciting car. Yeah. Do you see that taking off? Is there much mileage in that for this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a bit of a trial for it last year on the MW Rally. We've done a lot of work since then to get the reliability and to get better performance. And I think now it's pretty much there, and we are going to launch it for this year. John McCrone used it on Rally Mull and had a really good result with it and had a trouble-free run. So yeah, I think this year it'll be, hopefully it'll take off, and it's just another alternative for people that have got Super 2000s, just to prolong the life of them a little bit, because obviously with R5, Super 2000s took a bit of a nosedive, so you know, the people that have invested in Super 2000, it's good for them to have an alternative just to extend the life of it a little bit.
Well, great news from M Sport, the home of British rallying, of course, and it's always good to see you on special stage, Matt. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Now, being hosted at an exhibition centre here at the NEC, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the Autosport International was devoid of any action. You'd be wrong. Let's catch up with what happened in the live action arena here at the Autosport International show, where we're catching up with the world of rallying and motorsport in general. Walter, thank you for joining us here at Special Stage Extra. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really impressed. I am first time here. I heard it since 5-6 years that it's a beautiful show, but I was really impressed how interesting this show is. That is really, I always say, UK, that is motorsport country, absolutely.
It really is, and you know what, there are so many people here excited to see you. Now, your connection to our current World Rally Champions, we are a rally programme, let's start with rallying, is synonymous, obviously with the Audi connection and Porsche as well, with the VW group. Have you had a chance to have a go in the Polo yet?
No, in the last 5-6 years I never had a chance to be in a modern rally car. But okay, I was not really trying hard to have a chance, because I'm still in a situation that if I'm sitting in a proper rally car, after one day driving this car, I feel sorry that I cannot continue.
Yeah.
And the best thing to stay away, then you have no problem with these things.
Now, I've heard it said that your favourite rally car of all time that you drove was the 037 Lancia, which was a fantastic looking car, because, am I right in thinking it was because it was more of a race-bred machine? Yeah,
absolutely. It was like a Formula One. He was very precise to drive, and you know, the big level of car driving is rear-wheel drive, because in the modern cars you don't need any more this feeling, because you have all the traction, just flat on it goes. But in the Lancia, it was just to find out the right position of the acceleration, that it's not the power is too much, the car is going sideways. That was the high level of car driving. Even, of course, I enjoyed it very much to be in an Audi S1 with 550 horse brakes, but it was not so elegant. It was more and the Lancia was a favorite car, absolutely. It was fantastic. Even all other cars, beginning on Ford Capri in '71, it was very impressive. The Opel Ascona, Fiat 131. I had a fantastic time, and I'm looking back, and I'm really happy to have done this sport at the right time.
It's interesting that you talk about two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive in those terms, because Audi is credited with bringing four-wheel drive into rallying in a big way and transforming the sport to what we have now. And you are no small part of that. So how does it feel to look at these cars now and know that you had a big hand in developing this sport as it stands?
Absolutely. That was, on beginning the first 2-3 years, I was skeptic. I said, no, I don't know with this four-wheel drive. It has a fantastic traction, but the handling is incredible. It was so much understeer. But after the years 81, 82 and 83, I realized now it's time to change, because without four-wheel drive you will not have any chance. And before, all my life was just fighting for traction. I was always in my head, always trying to have traction. Don't give too much power on, that the car is only spinning. And with Audi, it was traction enough. It was so much easier in my life that maybe that is the reason they said the best time was before in the 037.
So what's your excuse for still making four-wheel drive look spectacular when you got on the Audi then?
Yeah, okay. I always, always tell the people a car without four-wheel drive is an emergency thing. That is, you must have four-wheel drive. But in a motorsport, it was easier to show that you are the best one in a rear-wheel driven car, because you need a very fine hand to use the right power.
Now, finally, the WRC in 2014 looks exciting. I'm sure you will agree. There'll be people hot on the heels of Volkswagen. Any ideas who you think will come out on top this year?
Yeah, it will be really interesting how Hyundai is working, because I think Neville is a fantastic driver, and he can be the only one who can be in the level like Ogier, because it seems that Hirvonen is a little bit destroyed from the last years. I don't think that Latvala is on the same level like Ogier, and if the Hyundai is working good, it can be really interesting to Ogier to put a little bit pressure to him. But anyway, I'm sure that is still, if we are talking from car driving, and for me a rally sport, that is car driving. It's absolutely, this is the top of motorsport. For me, it's rally driving.
So Neuville and Ogier, the stars of the WRC. You heard it here first from Walter Rohrl, absolute international rally legend. Thank you for joining us, Walter.
Thank you very much. All the best. Enjoy rally driving.
Now, fans of Special Stage will be used to seeing the sort of machinery that's behind me in action across the UK as we cover a number of off-road racing championships. And you'll be able to see more action from that type of motorsport in Special Stage Extra throughout 2014. Now, Malcolm, we spoke to Matt a little bit earlier about these programmes that you're running with the Bentley and, of course, with the rallying this year. But really, we were joking amongst ourselves here at Special Stage that the Autosport International could be renamed the M Sport International with the amount of cars and presents you've got this year. What a great year it's going to be.
I hope so. I mean, it's from every aspect for us. And obviously, the racing's a new dimension for us. So we did our first race in Abu Dhabi just before Christmas, which was a complete new experience for me, but really pleased with the way that the Bentley performed. And then so the R5, we're delighted with this. We've now sold, I think, 65 cars. So we've created this ladder of opportunity with a little Ford right down from the R2 right the way up to the World Rally Car. So it's going to be a pretty hectic year again.
And talking of ladders of opportunity, you are known for bringing names into this sport and making them big, and you could just do that with Elfyn Evans this year, couldn't you?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's great. I think this year there's, to have two Brits in the WRC with Chris Meek and Elfyn, then I think it's long overdue. But as long as people don't expect too much out of Elfyn, we've got a longer term plan with him. And the thing is, it's important this year that he just gets the experience, understands the events. To be honest, if he managed one podium throughout the year, then I would think that would be a terrific season for him.
We were talking to Matt about that. There is an awful lot of pressure. He knows that too well when you are a Brit, particularly when you're the only Brit in the WRC, because of the fan base here, and especially for M Sport and Ford, the fan base is just huge, isn't it? Yeah, it is, and as you say, the pressure does go with it. So, but that's the one thing that we've got to protect Elfyn against. But he's very smart, and he knows where he wants to be. So, I'm sure he'll be okay. Well, as a business and a sports team, we wish you the best of luck in 2014. It looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting year, and we'll be watching. Thank you very much. Now, if you're into motorsport in the UK, then this is a particularly interesting stand for you here at the Autosport International Show. It's the MSA stand, and the MSA Academy man to speak to me is Greg. Greg, talk to us about this MSA Academy.
Okay, so the MSA Academy is the competitor development pathway of the MSA. So our sole job is to basically develop racing drivers, rally drivers and kart drivers to give them the best potential chance to reach World Championship status, and so that they can go away from us and actually compete on the world stage. So what does that combine then? To be a world champion, to be of world champion material, what do you need to comprise as a driver, as a person? To be honest, to be a world champion, it's actually so complex, it's untrue, but we want to provide the guys with the best skills possible to be able to do that. So we're giving them the underlying knowledge and ability to be able to have the ability to learn and move forward within their sport. So actually be adapting, be able to learn and be able to put into practice under immense pressure. So looking at the psychological aspects, so we use qualified psychology programs. Nutrition, obviously, it's very important. Just as you put fuel into a racing car, you need to put fuel into yourself. But more importantly, learn how to, as I said, the learning and adapting is the key thing. So you're put into all different situations as a driver at the top level and as you progress. So it's being able to deliver at the right time to the highest standard possible. And it's not just about the driving, is it? I know football gets a better deal in our country, because at school, if you're into a big football team, then you have to do well at school as a person to be able to continue with that football team. You're doing pretty much the motorsport equivalent, just a bit later on, aren't you? Yeah, you could say that. We're, as a sport, we're now working really incredibly quite hard at this. There's 4 of us actually who are now doing a master's at university in elite coaching practice. As you mentioned, coaching in football and development within football is huge. It's what's happened. Football is a sport where you can go into and you just need a piece of grass and a football. Within our sport, it's a bit different. So obviously, it's important that the guys have limited time. You don't have the opportunities you do in football, so it's important that they maximise that time. So that's part of what we're doing, and ensuring that the guys, when they do get an opportunity, they make it. But like with all young drivers, if you're good enough and you'll get the opportunity. If you can actually deliver on that opportunity, you'll go far. Now, I need you to give me a bit of driver development. I've done some rally driving, some racing driving, so that interesting little bit of kit over there looks like something I want to have a go at. Excellent. Okay, well, come on, we'll go and have a go. Okay. So this is. I'm going to give you this now. Okay. You're the presenter. I'm the presenter. Okay, so this is a BATAC machine. So what we'll do is we'll do a 30-second go on it. It's all about reaction time and peripheral vision. So what we need to do, I'll set this up and the lights will go on and you have 30 seconds to hit as many as possible. Just with my hands? Just with your hands. What I would say, don't stand too close because it's all about the peripheral vision. Just as when you're driving the car, you need to know what's around you. Okay, so you ready? Yep. All I'm saying, Jake Dennis got 56 in 30 seconds, so... Halfway through and you're on 15, so you could get 30 if you keep up the pace, maybe even a little more. You've got 5 seconds to go. Come on. 30, bang on. 1 a second, first time, not too bad. So we'll make a rally driver of me yet? Yeah, it's still got some improvement, but lots of potential, and the potential's the key thing there. Okay. What do I need to score to be a TV presenter? To be a TV 25 and you're fine. I got the job. Thank you, Greg. Good to speak to you. Have a good day. Cheers. Thank you.
Now I'm joined on Special Stage Extra by Robert Reid, who of course partnered Richard Burns to that excellent World Rally Championship victory. You've all got that firmly in your hearts and your minds, I'm sure. But Robert now has a very important job. One of the most impressive and important questions we get asked here at Special Stage is, how do I become a rally driver? How do I become a race driver? Now Robert oversees just the answer to that question.
Well, we like to think it's the answer anyway. Yeah, I've got responsibility within the MSA, acting as their performance director. So really overseeing the development of all the MSA Academy programs. So it covers racing, rally, karting, the whole lot. And we built a structure with a number of coaches and performance managers, just to try and talent spot the drivers with potential and help them develop. Because we can never have enough future British world champions.
No, and as a world champion yourself, being at the top of the sport is good for these guys to be able to look up to you and be inspired by you, rather than having somebody who just went to university and just happened to study coaching, isn't it? It's someone they can actually see did it.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got this sad situation in the UK that our 2 World Rally Champion drivers are no longer here. So we should have Colin and Richard inspiring the next generation. So
they still do.
Yeah, no, they do. And had they been here today, they would have been doing so even more, I think. So yeah, you're right. It's about inspiration, but it's about the right training, the right messages, the right guidance, and that's why unfortunately with the MSA I don't get much time to do it myself these days, overseeing the programs. But I've got a really good team of coaches and performance managers that work with me on that.
Talking of which, if we could just bring James Wozencroft in, another man who has done well at the top of rallying. James, welcome to Special Stage Extra.
Thank you very much.
Now, you guys are also involved not only with the MSA, but the FIA as well. Just talk to us a bit about that, James.
The FIA Institute Young Driver Excellence Academy is a programme that Robert and myself are both involved with, and I'm a coach on that programme.
So. See how I let you remember the name of that rather than me.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I'm impressed he got it right.
One of the big questions, as I mentioned just now in the link up to that, was that people always say, how do you become a race driver? How do you become a rally driver? Where do they need to start at any level?
At any level, the Go Motorsport initiative is a great way to actually get into motorsport at the very start of what potentially could be your career. So that, for me, is the best way to get into it initially. And then within the MSA and the FIA Institute programme, that's where we start to develop performance and bring drivers' careers on.
Okay, so you bring them on as individuals and as talents and develop them as people as well. But Robert, the other big question is, how do I get sponsorship? So a couple of tips from somebody who had some of the best sponsorship, most iconic sponsorship, of course, in any of World Motorsport. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, that is literally the million-dollar question that we get asked a lot. And certainly all the programs we run, we do fairly extensive training on brand, creating a brand for yourself, on interacting with the media, on the commercial aspects, on different types of sponsorship, that are out there. And I think, the place to start for any young driver is friends and family. It's people first, because the next step is cold calling. And it's a real hard task. You'll write hundreds of letters, send hundreds of emails, make lots of calls.
That's a skill in itself, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you might get 1 or 2 responses, but I think what we try and do is we try and help the guys understand themselves within that process and understand the types of messages they need to get in there to have more success at that type of cold calling. So the sort of training that we run, and it's probably developed more into coaching than it is training, but the type of stuff that James and I are involved with is trying to create the rounded professional, the driver who's an asset to the team in the future. So it incorporates all these different aspects.
Some really good tips there from a former world champion and another man who's been at the top of rallying in the UK as well. Now, guys, I had a word with one of the members of your team, the MSA Academy, Greg Sims, who put me onto the BATAC machine and says that I am well qualified to be a TV presenter. Well, I scraped through, actually. But I'm not quite qualified enough yet to be a rally driver. So can I just ask, what score have you had on the BATAC machine?
I haven't done it, but James has.
There was a chance to really give me an answer that would have impressed me there. Okay, while we're here on the MSA stand, it would be rude not to talk to a man who did get his face all over our coverage just a couple of years ago when you were doing rounds of the BTRDA, of course, in that year when you were doing very well in the British Rally Championships as well. Adam Gould, welcome to Special Stage.
Hello, how's it going?
Really good. How's it going for you? You've moved over to roundy stuff.
I did betray rallying for a small while. Went and did some circuit racing. Did 4 rounds in the Clio Cup. Had a few crashes, racked up a few damage bills, and then had to stop. Sponsors went broke. So, yeah, it was a it was a short-lived career as a racing driver, but it was fun. It was something completely different. Taught me a lot of skills, particularly in the tarmac driving, that are transferable actually from rally to race.
And having been in that situation where you had to get your sponsors together, the sponsors went bust. Obviously, that's an experience in itself. What would you say to somebody coming into the sport who needs to find sponsors, who needs to get himself up to a level?
Yeah, obviously, someone like me who had to, from the word go, find all of their budget through sponsorship. It's obviously massively difficult, tricky in race and in rally. And I thought it might be a bit easier in racing because there's more facilities to accommodate sponsors. But in actual fact, it's just as difficult. But the bottom line is you've just got to keep working away and keep every single year hunting the budgets, and they don't come easily, and that's why I'm not racing at the moment. But if you give up, you're not going to do any more racing, so you've just got to keep trying.
Words of wisdom and inspiration, hopefully, for a new generation of budding motorsport competitors. Now, at the moment, you're not competing because you're hunting for the budget, as it were, but you are helping to coach these youngsters and get them into race and rally. So what are a few of the top tips that you would give people that you are coaching in this programme?
Yeah, well, it's great to be working back with the MSA now. Obviously, I've come through the MSA Team UK programme as a graduate, so to go back in and then see and sort of deliver something back to the drivers now, work with the young guys, help them not to make the mistakes that I made when I was coming up, hopefully limit them, and some of the coaching in the different areas, particularly like in the media and the sponsorship side of things, can hopefully give these guys, when they're quite young, it's quite difficult to go out there and find money or knock on people's doors, and you're a bit shy, you don't want to ask, and you fear the fear of rejection, all that sort of thing. It's just giving those guys some tips in all these areas. So hopefully it can just fast track them, again, not to make the mistakes that we did, or to do it a lot quicker than we were able to.
Make the mistakes a lot quicker.
Not make the mistakes a lot quicker.
Now, Greg Sims, talking of fear of rejection, has told me I'm not quite quick enough to be a rally driver, although I've tried my hand. No, I only got 30 on the Batak machine. What did you get?
I think mine was 13 this morning, but it was
13.
Quite a heavy night, and I was a bit slow on the old coordination, but I might have another go this afternoon.
So with his sort of dead Spider-Man reflexes, Adam Gould managed to get 13. I beat Adam Gould. We'll leave it there. You don't need to talk anymore. Thanks for joining us on Special Stage.
No worries. Hope to see you soon.
Now, if you've just won the lottery and you're in the market for an X-Works Group B rally car, an X-Bullet Mustang, or perhaps an X-Le Mans Ferrari, then the Coys Auction here at the Autosport International is the place where you might like to hang out. I like to hang out here too, but I'm on the outside of the railings because I can't afford the entry fee to get in and have a look. I'm joined now by British rallying legend Mark Higgins. No introduction needed, but that R5 showing at Rally GB last year was pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it was really great to get a chance to get out in a modern car. It's been quite a long time. I've done bits in China, so been away from it really, and I think the whole atmosphere of the rally, to be in, as I say, a modern car now, it was a fantastic weekend, and yeah, just nice to be in the top 10. So we weren't a million miles away. We could have done better, and more testing would have been great, but the whole experience was one that I relished, and I'd like to come back and do it again.
One thing you don't like to do is go out there on a one-off and throw the car off, so it's always good to at least get the finish, isn't it?
Yeah, and we were conscious of that. We had a quite good fight the first couple of days. We had a small problem on the second day, so there was no point doing anything silly on the Sunday. And we took the approach that do GB, people will have a few problems, use my head a bit, but actually nobody retired, which was incredible for the type of event it was. But yeah, it was a great event, and I think just moving it up to North Wales, the atmosphere was different, spectators out there was amazing, and it was just like the old days.
Well, we just need to extend it to cover the route of the old days now, don't we?
Yeah, no, I mean, the road mileage is always an issue, but I think it'd be great to have it like it was, going up to North, bringing it back, but it's probably not logistically possible nowadays, but yeah, it was definitely more like it used to be.
Although there are certain events showing that it is logistically possible, so we'll see, won't we? We'll see what's in the pipeline. So what does 2014 hold for one of UK rallying's most popular faces?
Well, we're off out to Monty next week, and that's helping Chris Meek. I'm doing his gravel notes. Right. So really hoping he has a good run over there, and great to see the Brits out there. We've probably got some work again in China. And we're just here at the show with Simpson. We've got the UK importership of that, and really promoting the new neck and head restraints. Right. So that's been going well for us.
The ones that you see people with straps?
Yeah, they sort of bolt on. It's got all the protection, really, really comfortable. And I got converted when I tried one 6 months ago, and loved the product and got involved in it, and it's been going really well so far.
And for somebody that's been in rallying and at the top level of rallying for as long as you have, and probably your heyday was before all these safety inventions were around, that's quite a big thing to say, isn't it?
Well, I mean, the hands device came in and we all hated it to start off with. Everybody that wears one would never go back and would not drive a rally car without a neck and head restraints. This has come along and it's just a different league again in terms of comfort. You don't even feel you got anything on. It's very easy, doesn't slip off, and that's why I liked it. And yeah, I've been converted really, and hopefully, you know, one day the UK will make these things compulsory, because I think, not because I'm selling them, but we've got to have head and neck restraints. Every other country does, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt, or, you know, even worse than that.
If someone with your profile can't make those statements, who can? So what other technological, safety or performance developments do you see in rallying in the next few years? We're at the top level now. We've got WRCs that are four-wheel drive, that are 1.6 turbo. It's changed a lot in the last couple of years. Yeah. What more changes do you think we can see?
It always amazes me. I mean, you look at a bike, for example, and you think, how can they make that better the following year? And they seem to do it with rally cars. I mean, the speed of these 1600s now is better than the 2 litres, you know? So suspension's incredible. That's where things have really moved on. But the cars are becoming actually more basic in terms of the differentials, but there's always ways to make them work better, and that's what the team's managed to do. And where they find this performance from is incredible. And for me, driving the car in GB, we dialed movement in the car out. You know, back in the early days, you didn't want dive. Yeah. These cars have massive suspension travel, and it's just a different theory, and it works. You know, and the cars are incredible. It's knowing how far you can go into the ditch and not going too far. But and
how many bumpers you've got in the service van.
Exactly, that was an issue, yeah.
You've not mentioned that too much, eh? The sponsors probably weren't too happy about that one. I think I saw a few photos with different coloured bumpers on both the team's cars.
We were definitely running out towards the end of that one, but yeah, no, the cars are great.
Some good stories, though, of social media helping the fans get those bumpers back to you.
Well, when they're 500 quid each, it's very important to get them back, and all the guys are brilliant. We saw a couple at the end of stages, and they did bring them back, and that was great for us, and I think they did it with a few other guys, because these bumpers were falling off all over the place. But yeah.
Why is that?
I think just the mud of GB getting in the back of the bumper, and we haven't had those conditions in any other rallies really, so it builds up on the back. We didn't hit anything, I promise, and they fall off.
Now, here at Special Stage, we cover a lot of Manx rallying. Now, you are from the Isle of Man. You love the Isle of Man. I've seen your videos on YouTube, the Brandywell Cottage stage in that Honda Civic, and can we expect to see you back on the Isle of Man to take in some of those roads that you love anytime in the near future?
I always try to work towards doing the Manx Rally. I think now it's back in the British Championship. It would be lovely to come and have another go at it. It is still one of my favourite rallies in the world. Not because I was born there, just the whole atmosphere, the way the roads are. It's fantastic. So yeah, I'll work on doing something, and I think the Manx would be a nice goal to work towards later on in the year if we can.
Now, just finally, we have two Brits actually at the top level of the WRC this coming year. Who's your money on in the WRC?
I think it's very hard. I mean, I think Chris and Elvin have got to go in there as a learning year. It's very, very hard. In the past, Brits have been given a one-off chance here and there, and it's very hard to go and prove that in one rally. So I think the fact they've got a season there to play themselves in, build up. You've got to look at Sebastian. His first year in WRC was nothing special, and then bang, he's there. And, you know, they've got the speed, they're good lads, and it's great that they've got this opportunity from Ford and Citroën. So it's very hard to say who's going to win. It's going to be hard to beat that other Sebastian at the moment. He's on fire, and so is the car. And it can only get better. They've had 1 year, and look where they are already. But it should be an interesting championship, and I think it's great to have some British drivers in there for us all to support.
Yeah, and of course you're supporting Chris by doing his gravel notes. It would be nice for Chris to have a consistent drive, because he's only ever had in the last few years one-offs or things that didn't quite go his way, so he's never had the chance to just relax a bit, has he, and sort of find his way. He had to prove himself every time he went out.
Exactly, and I think it's very easy to criticise and say, right, he's crashed or whatever, but he's got that one chance to go and prove himself. And okay, if he finishes 5th or 6th, nobody's going to really care. If he's putting fastest times in, you can always make a driver slow down. It's very hard to make a driver go faster, and he's obviously proved his speed, so we just got to get the rest sorted, and he hopefully should do a great job.
And let's not forget his connection with one of your colleagues and friends, Colin McRae, and people didn't mind him crashing so much, did they?
No, I think things have changed a little bit from then, but that's probably why Colin, like Chris, there was a big connection there. They've similar attitude, you know, he's very, very determined, and speed won't be an issue.
Well, thank you for joining us on Special Stage Extra, Mark. It's great to have a face like you on this programme, and it's great to have you in what's an exciting time for British rallying.
Yeah, definitely, and let's hope it just goes up and up again.
Well, that's all we've got time for here at the Autosport International Show, here on Special Stage Extra. But stay up to date with what we're doing and where we're going to be on our Facebook and our Twitter social media feeds. We'll see you in February for the first show, and of course for the BTRDA, the MSA Asphalt and the British Historic Rally Championships, and everything else we'll be doing in rallying in 2014.